ونستعين ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Inshallah, tonight we'll talk about one of the rights that we are supposed to fulfill and rights that are supposed to be fulfilled to us. But in this life, our main concern is what did we do with the rights of others? Did we fulfill others' rights? But for those who are occupied with whether people fulfilled his own right or her own right, that's a waste. Because this is something that can never be attained. Human beings are deficient. And we have no control over others, or not even ourselves. Everything is in the control of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But to live his life, to waste his life, waiting for others to fulfill his rights. And if they don't, then he would keep on being busy with this. Of course, definitely, a person should ask for his own rights. But the most important thing is for us to fulfill others' rights. This is what we will be asked about in the Day of Judgment. We won't be asked why did so-and-so did not fulfill your right. We will be asked why didn't you fulfill the rights of others. And if people do not fulfill our rights, this is either a person will get rewards in the Day of Judgment or that person depends on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever. But again, the most important thing is, are we doing our part in fulfilling the rights of others? And we said that anything in our life has rights on us, whether it's human beings or even non-human beings. So when it comes to the rights of the human beings, the rights of the Prophet ﷺ on us and the messengers will be asked in the Day of Judgment. And the followers of the messengers will be asked in the Day of Judgment how they accepted, how they followed the messengers ﷺ. And there's the rights of those who are close to us and those who are further away from us. The parents, the brothers for the deen of Allah, the husband, the wife, the children, and so on. So inshallah ta'ala, tonight briefly we'll mention some of the verses of the Quran or hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that talks about the rights of brotherhood in Islam. And when we say brotherhood, this is levels. Because there's the rights of Muslims in general, the rights of every Muslim or a Muslim. Doesn't matter where he is, whether we know him or whether we don't know him. If he's a Muslim, that means he has rights to us. And there's the rights of those who are close to us, among the Muslims. And this is the rights of the Suhbah. That's why the brotherhood is a general term, that all Muslims are brothers for the sake of Allah. But there's the companionship, which is a special type of brotherhood, when people are companions, when people are together. They see each other frequently, and they interact with each other, and so on. And there's the sadaqah or the friendship, which is also part of the companionship. And knowing these things is very important, and what's the rights of it, and the more the person is close to you, the more he has rights on you. And the brotherhood in Islam is something that has to do with the tawheed, the oneness of worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's an act of worship. It's an extension, if it's correct to say that, to the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A sign of the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hearts of the believers, that they love the believers. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves the believers. And because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in the Quran that this is part of the Iman. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ. The believers are nothing but brothers. So if they are believers, they have to be brothers. If their deficiency in the brotherhood, it's because of the deficiency in their Iman. So the matter becomes so clear. And we mentioned that before many times, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the deen so easy. To get people together, to get the hearts of the people together, to get people to love each other, this is something that is over the capacity of the human being. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لو أنفقت ما في الأرض جميعا ما ألفت بين قلوبهم. Saying that to the best man that had the best manners, alayhi salatu wassalam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to the Prophet himself, alayhi salatu wassalam, لو أنفقت ما في الأرض جميعا. If you spend all of what's on the earth, all of it, you will not bring their hearts together. And the harmony and the love in their hearts together. You would never be able to do that. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ أَلَّفَ بَيْنَهُم. But it's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one that brought the love to one another among them. So to think that this is our capacity to do that, we have no capacity to do that. But our duty is to be believers, is to be mu'mineen. If we fulfill the iman, brotherhood comes by itself. So when there is any problem in the brotherhood, whether it's in a masjid or in a city or in the whole world, why is it? Because of what? Because of the individual sins. The individual sins, some of these sins, individual person on his own, in his own room, right, in his own dealing, that sin affects the community that he lives with, affects his relationship with his wife, with his children, with his brothers in the masjid, affects the whole ummah of Islam, all of it. Right? This is not exaggeration, this is fact. And also the sins that has to do with the relationships, which is basically the rights. So if a Muslim does not fulfill the rights of another Muslim, or his brother for the sake of Allah in the masjid or whatever, this is a sin. Why? Because if he knows that this is something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants him to do and he doesn't fulfill it, he's committing a sin. So that will affect, of course, the relationship, and it affects one's iman. It affects the relationship because it affects the iman. Not because of the relationship necessarily, but the brotherhood, it's because it affects the iman, because the person had disobeyed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the reason why this is correct, because of the ayah that we heard, and also there is people, they think that they are brothers, but not for the sake of Allah, in committing sins. So when they commit sins, right, and they continue to feel that they have things in common and they love each other so much and they, they're buddies and so on. But this is all in vain, this is all waste. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about these types of relationship, الأخلاء بعضهم لبعض عدو الأخلاء يومئذ بعضهم لبعض عدو إلا المتقون, which means the very close friends, the ones that reach the highest level of love and brotherhood, they will be in the day of judgment to one another enemies, except the muttaqin, except those who have taqwa. They are the ones that their relationship of brotherhood will continue to be good in this life and to be one also in the hereafter. So this is a very important concept when we talk about brotherhood in Islam. It's the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not this brother or that brother, it's not like this. It comes from La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Once a person becomes a Muslim, it refers to the basic of the deen, to the tawheed of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if a person does not fulfill the rights of his brother, he has a problem, a deficiency in his tawheed, right? In his iman, directly. Not necessarily a matter of aqidah, because the iman is not just aqidah. Iman is aqidah, belief and speech and actions and everything. Again, so إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةً, that the believers are nothing but brothers. And also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتُ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ, that the believing men and women, they are awliya to one another, they are supporters to one another, they are helpers to one another. This is a fact. That means if they are not awliya to one another, that means they are not really true believers. They have weaknesses in their iman, so they need to go back and fix their iman first. And the Prophet ﷺ said in the authentic hadith, مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتعاطفهم مثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالسهر والحمى. And this hadith, you probably heard it many times before, right? And this is a reminder, but again to relate it always to the core of this deen. This is not an optional thing. This is not like, a person can be a good Muslim, but with his brothers he's not very good, and he continues to be a good Muslim. It doesn't work this way. He is not a good Muslim. He is weak in his iman. Prophet ﷺ said that the example or the parable of the believers in their love and their mercy towards one another, وَتَعْطُفِهِمْ, and their affection and their concern to one another is like one jasad, one body. إِذَا اشْتَكَى مِنْهُ عُضْوٌ, if one part of it complains, pain in one's teeth, pain in one's finger, right? Any part of the body, if it complains of pain, تَدَاعَى لَهُ سَائِرُ الْجَسَدِ بِالسَّهْرِ وَالْحُمَى. The whole body will be affected by this one part of the body, one organ, by not able to sleep and fever and all kinds of things. Right? The Prophet ﷺ, as we know, which shows the benefits of the belief, We don't take the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ as words from some wisdom or something like that. No, we take the words of the Prophet ﷺ. This is wahi from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is so real. There's no exaggeration. There's no word in the sayings of the Prophet ﷺ that has exaggeration in it. So this parable or this example is as it is like this. Right? So how it is when a person's part of his body is in pain, the whole body suffers, he's not comfortable whatsoever, he cannot enjoy eating, he cannot enjoy his legs and arms and so on if his teeth is hurting, for example. Right? The same thing should be, but this comes with a choice that a person has. Right? And that comes with the iman. If part of the ummah, any of the Muslims are suffering, then the concern has to be there. And at least if the person doesn't have the means to help someone that is far away from him, the least thing that nobody can stop it whatsoever, even the most tyrants in the world, is the dua. And the dua is not a little thing. It's not something, this is the weapon of the weak, yes, but this is a weapon that is the most effective weapon whatsoever. And when a person would make a sincere dua, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful, and we would see that the angels would say, Ameen wa laka al-mithl, Ameen, and you have the same. So the whole ummah, the ways of the enemies of Islam to split the ummah based on race or nationalities or all of these silly things, these are really silly things. Human beings, they degrade themselves so much. What is my fault or someone else's fault or benefit if they are born to be white or to be black or to be Chinese or to be Africans or to be European or to be white? What is the action that a person did so that he would be like this? And how can he be judged and he will be an enemy or a friend based on the fact that he is from Africa or from the Middle East? What is this? This is how, again, the human beings degrade themselves. If it's something related to his actions, yes, it's understandable. His own earnings, his own actions would be the reason why people would love him or hate him or whatever. But just for the fact that he is from this one part of the world, or he looks like this or like that, you would see the miraculous nature of the deen of Islam. Elevate the human being from this degradation of their own selves to be elevated. That the only criteria that makes a person have this love and so on is basically the purpose of our life. So this is a very important example given by the Prophet ﷺ. And also, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَاذْكُرُوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ إِذْ كُنْتُمْ أَعْدَاءً فَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِكُمْ فَأَصْبَحْتُمْ بِنِعْمَتِهِ إِخْوَانًا. And this is the virtue of having the brotherhood in the deen of Islam, to remember the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You were enemies, this was said to the companions of Allah anhum, they were enemies, and to those who follow. They were enemies to one another. Enemies, they would fight for a well of water, for a camel, for something like this. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought their hearts together, فَأَصْبَحْتُمْ بِنِعْمَتِهِ إِخْوَانًا. That you became by the bounty of Allah brothers. So they cannot attain the brotherhood except by the bounty of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. كُنْتُمْ عَلَى شَفَا حُفْرَةٍ مِنَ النَّارِ فَأَخْرَجَكُم مِّنْهَا. And you were on the edge of a pit of the fire, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved you from it. The Prophet ﷺ said in the hadith to show the virtue and the level of the brotherhood in Islam. When we say brotherhood in Islam, that means you love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. And the more the person is righteous, the more the person follows the way of the Prophet ﷺ, the more that he receives from your love and so on. Prophet ﷺ said, أَنَّ رَجُلًا زَارَ أَخًا لَهُ فِي قَرْيَةٍ أُخْرَى. That a man visited a brother, for his, not his biological brother, his brother in faith, in another village. فَأَرْصَدَ اللَّهُ لَهُ عَلَى مَا دَرَجَتِهِ مَلَكًا. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent a malak, an angel, on his way to the village. فَلَمَّا أَتَى عَلَيْهِ. When he came to him, he said, أَيْنَ تُرِيد? Where are you going? The angel said to him, where are you going? He said, أُرِيدُ أَخًا لِي فِي هَذِهِ الْقَرْيَةِ. I want to visit or to see a brother in this village, a brother of mine in this village. قال هل لك عليه من نعمة تربها? Do you have any favor that you're trying to whether ask it from him or to pay it back from him? He did something to you, that's why you're traveling to visit him. There has to be some reason for it. He said لا غير أني أحببته في الله عز وجل. He said, no, nothing except that I loved him for the sake of Allah. That was the only reason. He's not wanting money from him, he's not wanting something that maybe he would be there for me when I'm old or whatever. Nothing whatsoever, nothing except for the sake of Allah. So the angel said to him, قال فإني رسول الله إليك لأن الله قد أحبك كما أحببته فيه. That I am a messenger of Allah to you, and to inform you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you the same way that you loved him for the sake of Allah. So the ultimate goal of a believer in his life is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will love. Right? Would a person be miserable if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves him? A person knows that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves him. Would anything in this world would bother him or concerns him? Nothing. For the believers, nothing. This is the highest, this is the concern of the believers. This is one of the ways to receive the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that the person would love people only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not for anything else. And also the many incidences that happened at the time of the companions of Allah anhum to show how they understood this, and it will explain many of their affairs in their life. And then we compare this to our life now, when relationships are based on materialistic things and money and things of that nature, and people know each other only for these things. And the slightest thing from a brother, that if he says something or if he didn't say something or whatever, then it becomes the end of the relationship. This is not for the sake of Allah. This is for the sake of oneself. And sometimes we deceive ourselves. It has to be so sincere and having the good expectations, which is one of the rights, as we would say. Like someone, for example, as one of the Bedouins, his wife told him that your people and your friends and your relatives, they only know you when you're rich. When you have money, they come to you. When you don't have anything, they disappear. His response was, and of course this is not good from them, right? But to show the level of purity in his heart and the good expectations that he has towards them, he told her, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them. They come to me when I have money because they know that I can fulfill their rights. But when I don't have anything, they don't want to embarrass me. So that they don't come, so that I don't not be able to fulfill their rights. This is how he sees it. You can see it either way. But how he is seeing his friends or relatives or whatever, always having the good side of things, because it would not benefit him to think bad of them. And some people, they're just waiting for the mistake to come, the fault to come. Once it comes, all goodness and all of his whole life is just scratched immediately. And this is the Prophet ﷺ called this kufran al-ashir. Kufran al-ashir, kufran comes from kufr. Al-ashir is good living, right? The kufr of the good living. It's not a kufr that takes the person outside the fold of Islam, but this is something that the Prophet ﷺ warned the women from. When he told them that, he saw them that they were the most of the people of the hellfire, and then the Prophet ﷺ told them, because you takfur, you disbelieve. But he meant, عليه الصلاة والسلام, said كفران العشير, which means إذا أحسن الرجل إلى إحداكن الدهر. If the man is nice to you الدهر, his whole life, and then do one mistake, you would say to him, ما رأيت منك خيرا قط. I've never seen any goodness from you whatsoever. This is so injustice, right? And this is called كفران العشير. This is most common in women, but men do the same thing. People do the same thing. We fall into this so easy, right? So that means the person has to elevate himself from this and really do things for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Abu Idris al-Khawlani, he said, دخلت مسجد دمشق الشام. I entered the masjid of Dimashq, فإذا أنا بفتى بطلاق الثنايا. I entered the masjid and I found a young man, بطلاق الثنايا, very bright. وإذا الناس حوله إذا اختلفوا في شيء أسندوه إليه. And people around him, if they differ among themselves in anything, they would refer it back to him. وصدوا عن رأيه, and they would listen to what his opinion and whatever he says, they would take that. فسألت عنه, so he asked about him, who is this man? فقيل هذا معاذ بن جبل. He was told that this is معاذ بن جبل رضي الله عنه. معاذ بن جبل is the very basic or the most famous thing about Mu'adh radiallahu anhu is that the Prophet ﷺ said about him that the ulama of this ummah, ahead of them is Mu'adh ibn Jabal. he is the chief of the ulama of this ummah. He will come in the day of judgment. يسبق العلماء برتبة حجر. He will be ahead of all the ulama of this ummah by a distance of a stone thrown. He will be ahead of them, right? And Mu'adh ibn Jabal, he was a young person, right? He died, it was said, either 28 years old or another narration 32 years old. And he had this amount of knowledge of the barakah and the blessings of the Imam and the sincerity and so on. And the Prophet ﷺ, when he said, Allah, ya Mu'adh inni Allah uhibbuk, Wallahi wa Mu'adh, I love you, right? Which is definitely a level who can attain this level. And then he told them that do not leave after each salah to say, Allahumma a'inni ala dhikrika wa shukrika wa husni ibadatik. So, and many virtues of Mu'adh radiallahu anhu. So when he saw him, when he saw Mu'adh and how people are listening to him and so on, he came the next day. فَلَمَّا كَانَ الْغَدُ هَجَّرْتُ. When it was next day, I went early for Salat al-Dhuhr, which is a virtuous thing that actually, we kind of neglect this one sunnah. At-tahjir means to go early for Salat al-Dhuhr. This is one of the virtuous things, to go early for Salat al-Dhuhr. And this is something that the early generations of Islam used to do. Some of them, they would go way early. And I remember here, one of the masajid in America, mashallah, this was something clear in one of the masajid, especially with the old people. There were Yemeni brothers, mashallah. 10 o'clock, you find 2, 3, 4 going to this every day. Right? They go to the masjid and they read the Quran for local prayers. Way early, mashallah. You would see, I remember this one brother, he was so bent, right, that his house, he can see the masjid. And it takes him like 10, 15 minutes. Cold, summer, winter, doesn't matter. He's so early, he died, may Allah have mercy on him. He would always go early for Salatullah. So anyway, so this Khalid, he said, Hajjabtu, I went early for Salatullah.
This is Sunnah?
Yes. And see how the hadith says, this Khalid, he went early for Salatullah because this is a virtuous thing. فَوَجَدْتُ قَدْ سَبَقَنِي بِالْهَجِيرِ. He went there and he found who had surpassed him, was there before him. Mu'adh ibn Jabal, radiallahu anhu. He went there before him. وَوَجَدْتُهُ يُصَلِّي. And I found him making salah. There's an authentic hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that whoever goes to the masjid and prays 2 rak'ah of al-duha, this is authentic hadith, he gets the reward of Umrah. Right? So this is one of the virtuous things. So he found him.
Any day you go to masjid and pray duha?
Yes.
Any masjid.
Any masjid.
Before the duha time.
Before the duha time, of course.
What about if you stay at that time before after Fajr all the way?
Staying and making Fajr in Jama'ah and staying and making dhikr until sunrise. And after sunrise you pray 2 rak'ah. This is the reward of Hajj and Umrah, complete. This is a separate thing. So this is another thing. And the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so vast. So anyway, so a person can get this how Salatul Dhuhr, you cannot pray 5 minutes or 7 minutes before the adhan of Dhuhr. It is a forbidden time. So if a person goes before the adhan by 15-20 minutes, inshallah, this is a good thing. But anyway, so he said, وَجَدْتُهُ يُصَلِّي. I found him making salah. فَانْتَظَرْتُهُ. So I waited for him حتى إذا قضى صلاته. After he finished his salah, جئته من قبل وجهه. I came to him from his face, right, not next to him. And this is from the etiquette. فسلمت عليه. So I said salam to him. فقلت له والله إني لا أحبك لله عز وجل. He said, والله, I love you for the sake of Allah عز وجل. فقال, why did he say that to him? Of course, he's one of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. But the first thing that caught his attention is what, when he entered the masjid, what were the people doing in the masjid? They were doing what the Prophet ﷺ did with the companions of Allah, what every masjid should be doing. There's people learning the deen, and people learning, so that there are people of knowledge and learning and so on. So he loved them for that reason. And because of he's the companion of the Prophet ﷺ. So he said, Wallahi inni la uhibbuka lillahi azza wa jalla. Wallahi, I love you for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فقال Mu'adh radiallahu anhu said, Allah, by Allah, you should, he asked him, and by Allah you should, you said what you said, you're truly saying this. فقلت Allah, he said, Wallah, this is by Allah. فقال Allah, I said, Allah, second time. فأخذ بحبوة ردائي. He took me with my collar of my clothes, right? فجبلني إليه. And he pulled me closer. وقال أبشر. And he said, أبشر, which means have the glad tidings of the good news. فإني سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول, I heard the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم saying, قال الله عز وجل, that Allah سبحانه وتعالى said, وجدت محبتي للمتحابين فيه والمتجالسين فيه والمتزاورين فيه والمتبادلين فيه. وجبت محبتي. وجبت means it's, what's وجبت? How can you translate وجبت? وجبت from wajib, incumbent, right? It's mandatory. Incumbent, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, incumbent upon me the love towards those who love me, or those who love each other for my sake. So those who love each other for the sake of Allah, the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to them is incumbent upon them. There is no way except to have this, right? That they would receive the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because of their sincere love, that it's only for the sake of Allah. Again, not a person deceiving himself. No, it's sincerely for the sake of Allah, not for any other worldly reason whatsoever. It's only for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَالْمُتَجَالِسِينَ فِيهِ, and those who would sit together for my sake. What makes a person come and sit, for example? We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He makes us around these people. That the thing that brings us together is nothing whatsoever except the deen of Islam. The reason why we're sitting is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, not for any other sake whatsoever. وَالْمُتَزَاوِرِينَ فِيهِ, and those who would visit one another for my sake. وَالْمُتَبَادِلِينَ فِيهِ, and those who would spend from their wealth to one another for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. Right? And you see how they treated the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? One of us, if you say this hadith, you say it again, and sometimes the hadith sounds like you're saying some words of wisdom, but they dealt with the hadith. This is so real, right? And he asked, and that's why he asked him, Wallahi, are you sure that you love me for the sake of Allah? He said yes, and 2 times. Then he got him and he told him the hadith, Abshir, have the glad tidings, as a result of what he said, because this is what made them live their life and speak and act, is basically what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said and what the Prophet said. And also the hadith of the Prophet which is hadith, would say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يوم القيامة, the day of judgment, أين المتحابون بجلال اليوم, where are those who used to love each other for my sake only? Where are they today? أظلهم في ظل يوم لا ظل إلا ظل. I would shade them by my shade, there is no shade except my shade. And of course this is also mentioned 7 types of people that will be under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the day of judgment. وَجُلَانْ تَحَابَّ فِي اللَّهِ اجْتَمَعَا عَلَيْهِ وَتَفَرَّقَا عَلَيْهِ. 2 men, they loved each other for the sake of Allah. They got together for the sake of Allah, they departed for the sake of Allah. If we go on with just a hadith that shows the virtues of it, this will be basically enough for tonight. We're not talking about the rights yet. But this is very important, because once we know the virtues of it, and the more things has virtues to it, the more that means we have to submit ourselves to what is mentioned about these types of words. من عباد الله لا أناسا, this authentic hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, it says that from the slaves of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are human beings, ما هم بأنبياء ولا شهداء. They are not prophets and they are not martyrs. يغبطهم الأنبياء والشهداء يوم القيامة. The prophets and the martyrs will have ghibta towards them. Ghibta is what? That they wish that they would have what they have. The prophets and the martyrs would wish that they would have what these people have, of course without them losing it, بمكانهم من الله تعالى, as a result of their position, closeness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And these are not prophets or martyrs. قالوا يا رسول الله تخبرنا من هم? They said, the Prophet of Allah, please tell us who are these people. He said, قال هم قوم تحابوا بروح الله على غير أرحام بينهم. These are people that loved each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone, without any arham baynahum, without any kin or kith relationship, no blood relationship whatsoever. ولا أموال يتعاطونها, and it's not because of money that they deal with each other with. فوالله, the Prophet said, والله إن وجوههم لنور, that wallahi their faces is light وإنهم على نور, and they are on light. لا يخافون إذا خاف الناس, they don't fear when people are in fear, meaning that they are judged. ولا يحزنون إذا حزن الناس, and they are not grieving when people are grieving. And he recited the ayah لا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون, that indeed the awliya of Allah, there is no fear for them nor shall they grieve. So it's basically those who would love for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we talk about what are these rights and as a result of this, how can they love each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Again, the root of it is the oneness of worship of Allah. Is the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in hearts. That means the person makes the believer see everything according to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. If you see someone that is doing, and we have only the outside appearance, we don't check what's in the hearts of people. If you see someone that is obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and so on, then immediately you would love that. You would love that person for the sake of Allah, because to you, he is doing the things that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to do. It doesn't matter where he is or how close he is to you or speaks your language or not. So the first right is to love him for the sake of Allah. And as the Prophet said, لا تدخلون الجنة حتى تؤمنوا ولا تؤمنوا حتى تحبوا. That you will not enter Jannah till you believe, and you will not believe till you love each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of these rights is that if you love someone for the sake of Allah like that, we should do like Abu Idris al-Khawani did to Mu'adh ibn Jabal radiallahu anhu, to inform him that you love him for the sake of Allah. As the hadith of Anas radiallahu anhu, that مَضَى رَجُلٌ بِالنَّبِيِّ صلى الله عليه وسلم, a man passed by the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, وعند النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم رجل جالس, and with the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, the man sitting. فقال رجل والله يا رسول الله إني لأحب هذا في الله. The man sitting with the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم said, O Prophet of Allah, wallahi, I love this man for the sake of Allah. The Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم then told him, أخبرته بذلك, did you inform him of this? He said, لا. He said, no, I didn't. He said, قم فأخبر تثبت المودة بينكما. Go and inform him, the mawadda and the love will be firm between you. فقام إليه, then he went to him فأخبره فقال إني أحبك في الله. قال أحبك لله. He said to him, أحبك في الله. This is what is to be said. أحبك في الله. أحبك لله. Of course, this is brother to brother, that's it. Right? It's not permissible for a brother seeing a sister, or this is not permissible. It's only for the brothers or the sisters to a sister. Because some they do this. And one of them, a Sheikh, that was on television, right? And the woman calls, Ya Sheikh, wallahi, uhibbuka fillah. She's sincere, and he said, do not say this, it's something to be said only. The brothers alone and the sisters alone, things like this. So to say to the person, إِنِّي أُحِبُّكَ فِي اللَّهِ, I love you for the sake of Allah. And then the man said to him, أَحَبَّكَ الَّذِي أَحْبَبْتَنِي فِي. This is what to be said. أَحَبَّكَ الَّذِي أَحْبَبْتَنِي فِي. May Allah, may the one that you love me for his sake, love you. أَحَبَّكَ الَّذِي أَحْبَبْتَنِي فِي. And the Prophet ﷺ, also one of the rights is, simple rights, it's not in one specific order. So to do this, and to say the salam, which is the right of a Muslim, right? To say salam to him, this is one of the rights. And we talked about the etiquette of salam, and we need to keep on reviewing this because this is important. This is a dars by itself. The etiquette of the salam, and who should start the salam, but it's something very important. And we need to learn how to give salam to another and to mean it. This is one of the rights of the Muslim, is that when you give him the salam, you not just say it with your tongue as hi, right? You say it as Assalamu alaikum. Because again, many times, most of the time when we say Assalamu alaikum, we really not saying Assalamu alaikum, just saying hi. Because we don't mean what you're saying. We have to mean what you're saying. That means, may Allah, this is what you're saying with your heart and your tongue, may Allah make you free from all harm in this life and hereafter. What is more beautiful than this? This is what it means when you say Assalamu alaikum, and that's it. Wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts this dua, what else is good in this life? This is the best thing whatsoever. And it's so sincere if it's done from one brother to the other, because he doesn't want anything from him, it's something that comes from the heart. And also to to shake hands. And that also has some ethics to it. Not every time that a person meets or leaves. When people meet, yes, this is from the Sunnah to shake the hands. But when people are leaving, doesn't have to. They don't have to shake the hands when they're leaving. But if they do, that's fine. And the Prophet ﷺ said, تصافحوا يذهب الغل وتهادوا وتحابوا وتذهب الشحنة. That when you shake your hands, the ghil or the envy or the hatred goes away. Right? And give gifts to one another, you will love each other, and the enmity will go away. When we say one of the rights, these are easy rights. Say salam, shaking the hands, making dua, right? But some rights are more tough, right? And it shows the sincerity. And that is when it comes to matters of money, right? Or being there for your brother if he needs help. And that's also a sign of brotherhood. Which a man, he went to Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, and he said, إِنِّي أُرِيدُ وَأَخِيكَ فِي اللَّهِ, I want to be your brother for the sake of Allah. So he told him, you know what the rights of the brotherhood for the sake of Allah? He said, inform me. He said, أَلَّا تَكُونَ أَحَقَّ بِدِينَارِكَ وَدِرْهَمَكَ مِنِّي. He said that you don't have, when it comes to your money, more rights to it than me. Means, you know, we have the same rights towards your own money. So he said, I did not reach this level yet. Right? This is the level where the brotherhood, right? But it doesn't mean that when a person hears this, it means, okay, yes, one will take advantage of the other. No, because it goes both ways, right? So like what? Like when the Muhajirin, they went to Al-Madinah, right? And Ibrahim Zidan, and the Prophet ﷺ made him a brother with Sa'd ibn Rabi'a, right? Although this brotherhood was cancelled after that, they made them physical brothers, right? That they shared everything. This was mandatory when they first migrated. And this was abrogated. This was only that incident. And then after that, it's not like this. But anyway, although this was mandatory, it was something that is not just out of the goodwill of the person. The Prophet ﷺ made the Muhajirin from Mecca and Ansar brothers. That means they share everything. The person has more than one wife, they split that, money, and so on. So Abdurrahman ibn Auf, he was the brother of Sa'd ibn Rabi'a, and Sa'd ibn Rabi'a told him, I have two wives. Choose the most beloved to you, right? This is one thing, right? And the second thing is, and this is my money, take care of it. Right? This is the level that comes from the heart of the brother for the sake of Allah. And again, this was abrogated, right? But the level of love. But then what was the response of Ibn Auf? He did not say, yeah, sure, this is a great thing. He said, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless your wealth and your wealth. Just tell me where is the market. Right? So it both ways. One side that you eager to do whatever to be kind to your brother, and your brother should also take the means not to take anything from you. It's like it's not a tricky thing or anything, but it's like, for example, you should carry your own bag. You should not let anybody carry your bag, for example, even if it's heavy, right? But you're with a brother. He should offer to carry and to help you. Please let me carry it. It's too heavy on me. Let me carry it, right? So this is a good thing from him, but it's not a good thing for you to say, okay, go ahead. It's a good thing for you to say no, but the other person is sincere, and he would want to have this so that he can help his brother. But his brother should not give in to this, right? He should say, but no, I'll do it myself. You understand what I'm saying here? So it's not like being not sincere. No, both are sincere. So the same thing, the one that refused, he should not say, well, I should not help people when they need help, because they need to take care of their own stuff. No, he should, whenever he sees someone, he should try to help. And he would insist. But if the other person insists, then you leave him alone. So the same way. So it's not like they would take it becomes one way of goodness and virtues. It goes both ways. This is the level of the brotherhood. Times of need, this is what the people did. This is what the Prophet ﷺ praised the Ash'ariyin, right? Not the Ash'ari of the sect, but the tribe of Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. Why? The Prophet ﷺ praised this tribe Because whatever they are in need, what do? Everybody brings their own stuff. Everybody brings their food. Nobody has his own food. They bring all of their food that they have, and they put it all together, and they share it all together. Right? And at times of need. Right? And the Prophet ﷺ also, when they were traveling one time, and a man came to the Prophet ﷺ, and he was in need. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Man kana ma'ahu fadlu dhahrin falya'ud bihi 'ala man la dhahra lahu." Whoever has extra camel, right, he should give it to the one that doesn't have anything. وَمَنْ كَانَ لَهُ فَضْلٌ مِنْ زَادٍ فَلْيَعُدْ بِهِ عَلَى مَنْ لَا زَادَ لَهُ. Whoever has extra food, he should give it to the one that doesn't have. And he mentioned one type after another of the things that people will have, till, as the narrator of the hadith, it says, حَتَّى رَأَيْنَا أَنَّهُ لَا حَقَّ لِأَحَدٍ مِنَّا فِي فَضْلٍ. Till we thought that there is no right for each and every one of us of anything extra. If it's extra, we give it to someone because that someone doesn't have anything. Right? So at times of need, it's different than at times of spaciousness. So a Muslim in need and he is dying of hunger, then extra, someone has an extra, he should give the extra and not worry about what happens tomorrow. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will provide for him. There are many things, of course, but also one of the things is that we really need is for the brothers to speak nice to each other and to smile to one another and to respond with the salam and to be happy when you meet your Muslim brother. And this is all in the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet وَقُولُ النَّاسِ حُسْنًا. Say to the people husna, not just to even the believers, to everyone. You speak good to people. وَقُلْ عِبَادِي يَقُولْ الَّتِي أَحْسَنُ الشَّيْطَانَ يَنْزَغُ بَيْنَهُمْ. See the ayah, وَقُلْ عِبَادِي, say, O Muhammad ﷺ, to my slaves, يَقُولُ الَّتِي أَحْسَنُ. They say the best, not just they say what is good, but they say the best. Why? Because إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ يَنْزَغُ بَيْنَهُمْ. But the shaitan, he creeps in between them. إِنَّ الشَّيْطَانَ كَانَ لِلْإِنسَانِ عَدُوًّا مُبِينًا. That indeed the shaitan is an enemy, clear enemy to the human being, and this is what the shaitan is doing. Prophet said, إن الشيطان أيس أن يعبد في جزيرة العرب ولكن في التحريش بينهم. The shaitan gave up on being worshipped in the Arab Peninsula. But what? He did not give up on في التحريش بينهم. Makes enmity among them. This is what the shaitan is doing. Right? And he is very successful in doing this. Why? Because of deficiency in Iman, and because people are not having the shaitan as one of the elements of why there is enmity. How many people talk about the shaitan as why there is an enmity between brother and another brother? Usually shaitan is not mentioned, or if it's mentioned, it's just like that on the side. But who is the one that is making in the hearts of the people and their whims and feelings and so on, making what's very small huge? Did you see what he said to you? Did you see what he looked at you like this? And that's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, كُلِّ عِبَادِي يَقُولُ الَّتِي أَحْسَنُ. They should say what is the best, because your word to your brother, if it means more than one thing, the shaitan will be on him to take it the worst, to take the worst meaning of it, right? And if he does not have the strong iman to push away the whispers of shaitan, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered us to think good of one another, right? But if he doesn't have this and shaitan gets his weakness, you had a share in this. Why? Because you're the one that didn't choose the best words. So people should choose the best words, and also people should have the best expectations towards one another, even if they don't choose the best words. And so to speak what is nice, to call one another with the best names that a person likes to be called, and that will bring means of goodness between one another. To humble oneself, and of course the ayat and the hadith that talks about this, to even if you have any means of helping a brother for the sake of Allah, a person should do that. Prophet ﷺ كان إذا جاءه السائل أو طلبت إليه حاجة قال اشفعوا تؤجروا ويقضي الله على لسان نبيه صلى الله عليه وسلم ما شاء. He used to say, the Prophet ﷺ, to the people, اشفعوا تؤجروا. Intercede for others, you will be rewarded for it. Intercede means if somebody needs your recommendation for something, give him your recommendation, of course, without lying and without taking the rights of others, right? So if you have any means, you can help someone to get a job, help him. You help someone to be accepted in a school or something, help him, right? But not in haram. Don't co-sign for someone to take a riba loan. And you say, well, if I don't co-sign for him, you won't get the car, you won't get the house. This is helping on other matters of evil, right? And this is not a good thing. Even if he is in need or whatever, we should only do things that is for the sake of Allah, something that is permissible. Many things to give the nasiha. Many details with many evidences that I don't think we should be in haste in saying it, so maybe we should give it more time, inshallah, next time, with more rights. But the most important thing is to know that this is something that is part of the deen, this is some of the virtues, and if it's not there, that means we're deficient in matters of the iman, and that's why we need to work on our iman and our deen, so that we repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if there's a hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, that the meaning of which that if there is a enmity between you and your brother, it's because, know that for sure that it's because of the dam. It's because of the sin that was committed. Should you say, well, it's probably his sin, because that's not me, no, because of my sin, right? And we have to blame ourselves first. So if the wood and the love of your brother happen one time that it's not there anymore, then it's because of the sin. There's a sin committed, and as a result of that, this affection and so on is not there. So I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from the evil within ourselves, and to make us among those who help each other to the sin.